Hello, skin suits. Curses and madness be upon you all, for life fighters. The first ship sails forth, and with only one more chapter before we reach the conclusion, let's catch up with Blisk and Ash in the second time around at Pathfinder's warehouse. You're looking alive, eh? That's a start. No thanks to you, Blisk. Ooh, this is interesting. 5x5, huh? That brings back some bloody memories. What are the greatest hits you got playing up there, Ash? You trying to kill me. Didn't forget that. Yeah, I've already read this chapter. I always read the chapter first before I actually come and read it through here. This is fucking interesting. I don't know who to trust here. I wasn't killing you. I was stashing you away. I had no bloody choice. We had a deal, and I was coming back, eventually. Some years ago. Yeah, exactly when this is, I've got a few ideas about, but I'm really not sure. I had to be thorough. There's no other way. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a tropical paradise on the other side. I am sorry. I understand. Good luck. You too, old friend. Ashes to ash. Ashes to ash. Ash. And here... to ashes. So what the fuck is this? There's two predominant theories I have about what Blisk throws Ash into, and it's either an interdimensional portal which would have to have been made by Voidwalker Wraith given the theoretical timeline, or if this isn't actually white hair, it's still when his hair was blonde and it's just the lighting that makes it look a little weird, then this is the Ark? And when Ash was rebuilt, she was rebuilt without her original head and possibly her original source code? So the Ash who worked for Vincent Dynamics was seeking memories from the Remnant fleet because she was a completely different source code, or she was only based on the remnant of the source code that was contained within the actual body? Because as we saw at the end of The Broken Ghost in the final quest, the Ash's body seems to retain some of her memories as well. So this could be the Ark, and this actually happens just before the end of Titanfall 2? I know that's weird, and I know it's less likely. We're not entirely sure when Titanfall 2 exactly was. More recently, it's been surmised it's closer to 10 than the original sort of 30 years ago, people were saying. So some years ago could be around the time of the Battle of Typhon. But it's also more likely to be since her rebuilding. It gets maybe a little too complicated if this is the original head that was thrown into the Shadow Dimension, and the rebuild of Ash by Vincent Dynamics was completely different. It gets possibly a little too complex, so I imagine this is post her first rebuilding. Today lies. I do not enjoy these games, Blisk. Very fitting, as Ash in Titanfall 2 is seen to love her games. So, how much she actually remembers, and obviously, that's new, eh? What sort of context this is being put in is uncertain. There's also the possibility that this is Blisk lying. I wasn't killing you. I was stashing you away. She can't remember exactly what's happened, right? So this could be a flashback. This could be a lie. Do we trust Blisk or do we trust Ash on this? And the slow, calm, wait, what you do? Just sparking a cigar. If we're going to fight, let's fight. Maybe sometime, eh? But not now, Ash. This panel! Whatever this is, drop it. I just got word an old friend of yours is back. The first ship. Right. So that's the end of the second time around. This obscure-ass panel. I love the art style on this. I really like this flame as well. The first ship has been heating up really nicely towards the end. Like, I like how they've been using Ash and Blisk here. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly who to trust. I do kind of think that Blisk is likely actually telling the truth. It kind of seems almost like pointless for him to bother lying unless it's something bigger than him that's going on. Like, what was he saving Ash from? Like, would Vincent rebuilding Ash with her memories intact give them access to something that they obviously really didn't want them to have, like the codes they stole from Ash last chapter, or at least that Hammond stole last chapter? But then this old friend. You could argue with the whole 5x5 thing that it's about Viper or another apex predator. Like, 5x5 isn't exclusively a Viper thing, it's even like a piece of piloting terminology in the real world, or at least there's a very similar thing. So 5x5 doesn't have to mean Viper. To me, it just means the apex predators. So the old friend obviously could be one of the apex predators. There's not many that it really makes any sense for. You could obviously have them come back as simulacra. But, as I mentioned with the portal, I've got to go through so many panels just to get to the portal. The portal, or the arc portal. The arc obviously was more dealing with time travel than interdimensional travel. So, I think it's more possible that this is something that happened during Project Wraith, something caused by Voidwalker Wraith, something that Voidwalker Wraith was asked to do, or did to get rid of Ash, but that might then not exactly fit the sinister way that Blisk chooses to say this. An old friend, if it's Voidwalker Wraith, that's where I'm going with this, right? If Voidwalker Wraith is the character that he's on about as an old friend, because like obviously an old friend could be on about a new character we've never heard of, when you drop things in this way, it can be a suggestion that they're on about someone that we know, and they're very obviously hiding who it is. Like, could be Darian or Eduardo, maybe. But if it was a new character, he might even be able just to say, drop it, I hear that X is back. And that would have the same impact. So saying an old friend instead makes it more likely in my eyes that it's going to be a character that we know or that we know of. So Darian and Eduardo, or my favourite guess is Voidwalker Wraith. And what resulted in, god damn it, this panel has something to do with her. The fact that Ash had been torn across dimensions had made me want to connect the two anyway, or at least connect Ash to Project Wraith. If it's something that the project was after, that Ash had, that Blisk had to get rid of her, and maybe Blisk is actually acting against Hammond and the IMC and the Syndicate. Maybe he's actually like a rebel underneath it all, which could point to... I've heard ideas that he might become a legend at some point. I think he's less likely than Ash. I want fucking Ash to be a legend, man. That's who I want to see. But yeah, if this is actually Blisk acting against the powers that be, that could be a way in for him to join the games as well. If he gets, you know, you're not commissioner anymore, you're in the games, and he's like, fucking A. Like, he'd enjoy that. He's the kind of character that would. So yeah, my favourite guess for an old friend is Voidwalker Wraith, and she has something to do with the situation that Ash is in now. How she's had her head torn across dimensions, as we see yet again here, where this is where evidently her head splits apart and gets sent to the shadow dimension. So that's my favourite guess. I kind of don't care who it is as long as we get some more Ash, to be honest. I have another video detailing all the possible connections that she could have to the other Apex Legends. The fact that Blisk says is back makes me think it's not one of the legends, because they've been around this whole time. Like, they found her head. So the only character who sort of stands out there to me is Voidwalker. Again, I don't care who it is, as long as we get some more Ash, and we actually get some expansion into her, or we get maybe the development that she becomes a legend. I've also made a video speculating on what her abilities could be. I definitely played with this. I like how her sword seems to have entirely changed shape since the last time we saw it properly. I'm sure it was never this curved, or it didn't look like a machete or a scimitar. Scimitar's the wrong one. Yeah, it didn't look like a machete. It looked more like a katana, if I remember rightly. Which that feeds into my theory that her blade is actually like a ferrofluid, and she's got some sort of like magnetic control over it. Is it in this chapter? No, it's not. It's in the chapter before. But yeah, I think that's everything I really have to say about the second time around. I hopefully won't have to say anything a second time around. I probably have repeated myself a few times this video. We've come back to this page a fucking ton of times. I hope you enjoyed the... Ooh, that's annoying. There's a tiny little glitch in the thingy there. The art style has been... I've really enjoyed the art style all the way through the comics. I like this paneling, how they really take the time to build up to Blisk having a smoke. I wouldn't have minded some little smoke here. And this panel is gorgeous, personally. I like the removing the outlines style they've gone with here by comparison to some of the earlier panels. Yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter. Next week, the first ship. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on it. Otherwise, why the fuck would you watch the video, right? Hopefully, I will see you next week as we conclude the first ship, and hopefully Ash becomes a legend. Thank you for staying with me, friends. I've been Euclidean Vision, the emotional support. Take care of yourselves out there, and may the glorious light of Best Girl shine within you. Bye-bye.